You're not going to like it when I say this at first, but if you hear me out, I'll land this jet black aircraft and you'll understand it. First, let me thank you all for the support you've shown me for my response to Shahid Bolson of Middle Nation, where I give him credit for his geopolitical analyses and even his analyses of interfaith cooperation. Not interfaith in general, but cooperation. Um, and I still have to correct him on his analysis of gender dynamics in the West and increasingly so outside of the West. I don't like to have to sit up and tell a Muslim in front of others, hey, actually, that's not what happened after they've commented on it. But I don't really know what the better thing to do was. I used to be in this Telegram group, but I wouldn't have had time to really. Honestly, there was so many notifications he would not have seen if I had responded there. Um, the fact is that um, somebody has to sit up and explain why it's a gender war. We were not designed to be at war with each other. He's right about that. The way that Allah told us to behave towards each other and even programmed us to is not what we're actually witnessing. But the ease and fluency with which many women around the world take on the Western misandry, cloaked as feminism and equal rights, would make you think it has even made some red pill aware men think that women are naturally our enemies. That is a dangerous thought for a Muslim man to have if he becomes red pill aware. Dangerous thought to think that Allah programmed them to be this way when that's not how He programmed them. But because it is a war that they're not really programmed by God or created to fight, and we're not interested in fighting at all, even artificially, there are things that have to be done, and they're not pleasant, but they're still there. And one of them is that women cannot be treated equally. Now, women demand that all of them be treated equally. The one that's as big as a house and um, the one that has a boy body and then the one that's in the middle demand to be treated equally on the marriage market. Now, they can be equal at their jobs and at their other functions, but they demand to be treated equally on the marriage market while they sit up and say that they will not treat men equally even in other ways. They won't even treat men equally outside of the mating or marriage markets based on how these men look. They may even treat their own brothers differently based on how their brothers look. And would not blame women for treating their brothers differently based on how their brothers look. And will tell the brother that does not have the looks that women want that it's his attitude when in fact it's his looks. That would cause him to have to make tough choices between being unnaturally single and being ill treated and disrespected again and again and again and again. And they would turn around and say, well, you tolerated this. If he's in a relationship or married to someone and is ill treated, they would say to him, you tolerated this. You accepted that. And if he's not going to accept that, then he has to be unnaturally by himself. And they would turn around and say, well, your attitude is why you are single. When in fact, it's not the attitude, it's the appearance. And sometimes we even say to them, hey, just be honest about it. Just don't lie and gaslight men about this. No, it's and you can't get that. Now I'm here to tell you that I opened this up because of something I noticed a while ago. And I was reminded of it when I saw Black Guru's video in which this crack addict chick was cussing this man out. Turns out to be the ex-boyfriend, the baby daddy. I think she's a crack addict, meth addict, something. She seems to be addicted to something. And I remember thinking to myself, and I left a comment there, and I said, if if women choose how badly they'll behave based on how good they look, shouldn't this woman be humble and appreciative? Because I can look at her and tell she's hooked on something, and her breath is funky. I can tell. She doesn't. Uh, she doesn't look like she smells great because she's not big and is therefore easier to clean herself. She looks like she smells bad because she doesn't eat enough, and her body's running on a caloric deficit while she nourishes it with whatever has her addiction. She ain't going to the dentist to get her teeth cleaned, and she ain't properly brushing. I can look and tell. Low grain video, low resolution, and I can tell. And I remember thinking, wait a minute. She shouldn't really be behaving this badly, but the problem in the West is if they're told to behave conversely, or to always, first they were told to behave conversely to how they look. Now the message is always behave worse than you appear. Don't behave well at all. If we can get the pretty chicks to just never behave well, then all of us can misbehave. Treat these men badly. And it dawned on me that just like I have to tell my students, I'm not going to treat you all equally. Some of you came in here having studied English appropriately for the level that you're supposed to be at now. Others of you have come in here not having studied. You just barely squeaked your butts into this advanced class. Now your English is jacked up and you're not fixing anything. And I don't want you to sit up here and lie to me and tell me that I'm being discriminatory against you because your English is bad, when in fact I'm being discriminatory against you because your English is underneath the standard that it needs to be at for you to start this advanced level, and you're not getting better. Don't lie about it. No, no, no. You came in here with insufficient English skills for this level. Somehow you squeaked past the last one. You just barely made it here. And then you don't improve yourself. I also have to tell you, gentlemen, that you're going to have to start treating different women. You're going to have to treat women unequally based on their cultures. Now, of course, it's really based on their behavior, but it's going to start off based on the culture from which they derive their behaviors. You must treat them unequally. Even when they're just colleagues and there's nothing really personal about your relationship with them, you still are going to have to treat them unequally based on what they have chosen, and even starting off based on the culture from which they choose how they will behave. To give you an example, if my ex-wife from the States took photographs of our meals and didn't want my hand or face in the photographs at all, and wanted to put them on Instagram, this is my meal, this is my coffee, wanted to put them on Instagram and didn't want any part of me in that, and I have to pay for these meals, I'm going to say to her, you're by yourself. Now, once we had our daughters, I probably would not have said that. But by me simply removing myself from the mistreatment, and not talking to her anymore, she said, let's end it. Yeah, okay. And by the way, even though I stopped talking to you and now you want to end it, I'll end it when you sign this permission paper that this other government wants for me to marry another woman. You gonna share me for a little while before the divorce is finalized. I'm not playing. And yes, I'm letting the daughters know that I'm about to marry someone else and stick a dick in her before your divorce and mine is going to be finished. They're going to know that while I am married to their mother, I'm also married to someone else and pairing that tussie up. Not literally. If I wanted to say it politely, consummating the marriage. Oh yeah, Jet Black did this with the ex-wife. And let the daughters know I'm about to marry somebody else before this divorce is finalized with your mom. And if I don't consummate this marriage with this other lady, I'm going to halt the divorce with your mom. It ain't because I hate her. It's not just cheap vengeance. It's nothing like that. It is to drive home a lesson to the daughters. You will not castrate men. You will not follow your mom's example and try to castrate a man. This is one of the reasons I don't tell y'all who I am. I don't put my name and face out there in the public. I'm not trying to embarrass my ex. I'm telling you what the lesson is with no ability for you to know exactly who the hell this was, so that you understand that I'm not making these lessons up, but you still get to benefit from them. If she had done that with social media, and I knew about it, and I knew then what I know now, there would have been no daughters. The marriage would have been real short if there'd been one. Oh, I got to cover the bill, but you don't want me to show up in the photograph. Are you out your goddamn mind? I mean, I'm not looking to just be in the photo, but you're not going to sit up here and then tell me, move my hand. But I got to pay the bill. But my current wife, because of how she treats me and how she respects me, and an uncertainty even, and a risk she's taking to be able to leave her job to join me where I live, can take photographs of the meals that we eat. The bill is on me. Now, I still get on her ass if she says, can you move your hand? I'm like, damn it, you're lucky I didn't start eating yet. I don't pay to wait. I don't pay to be patient. I'm not a patient person. I'm not going to learn how to be patient. You're not going to tell me to be patient. No one's going to do that, especially if I have to pay for it. Once I have to pay, I'm not patient. You're lucky I'm doing this. But don't tell me to move my hand out of the frame. I'll get on about that. And she stopped doing that. But she can take a photograph of the meals if she wants to and post it on Instagram. And not photograph me, which I wouldn't want anyway. She can do that, and here's why. When she photographs the meals but doesn't photograph me, the way I respect her privacy, here and even in the life I live under my own name, she also respects my privacy. Her friends can see her accounts and the photographs, just her friends, not people that don't know her. And she'll tell me, I'm not showing you off to my friends. They may meet you, they may see you, and that's fine, but I'm not showing you off to them. And I don't want you taking photographs of me and showing them off to the people that you know. So my Facebook account that's under my own name, I don't do that. It shows I'm married to her, but I don't do that. I got one for educational purposes. I got another one for personal purposes, funny stuff, edgy stuff. That's not public. Reason being, I'm respecting her privacy. She's not tied to the political stuff I say. She's tied to the little jokes and the little tips I give about education and learning and stuff like that. That works better. That's better for her. No one's going to take the stuff that I've said about personal stuff or political stuff and then say, hey, this is your husband talking political. No, it's more like, oh, hey, this is your husband talking about how to learn English. Oh, this is a funny story he told about teaching English class one day. Just that. To make her life easier. That's how she does it with me. So that's a double standard sometimes you might have to have. You might have to take somebody that you were discussing marriage with from one particular culture and interpret things they have done with the benefit of the doubt. But if you're going to sit up here and discuss the same marriage with a woman that grew up in the West, you're going to have to doubt the benefit. That's a double standard we have to have, not because we want to, not because we just like to be unfair, but this is one we have to have based on evidence. And because, frankly, Western women themselves, who don't mean you any harm, will still look to see how slow you are to react to something as if it's harmful and then determine, oh, he's stupid. I mean, I wasn't doing this to harm him, but he still took it really well, as if he knew I wasn't. And they don't sit up and say, well, he must have known I didn't mean any harm. They sit up and say, oh, he just dumb and ain't got no boundaries. That's why sometimes women that otherwise are good women could sit up and say hello to a guy that they've known for years, that they're their neighbor or something. How you doing? How your parents? Get to my greetings. They could speak to this guy like that in front of you. They're just being polite. They ain't being inappropriate. They ain't being disrespectful. You calm. You cool about it. She's having a normal, polite conversation with a guy she knows from maybe childhood or school or something or work in front of you, nothing disrespectful, nothing for you to react to, and that westernesha will turn around and then later play that back in her head, usually within the same few minutes, and say, wait a minute, he was calm about this. And instead of saying you're a secure man, she says, he's a dumbass with no boundaries. Now the woman that was never thinking of disrespecting you and cheating you is now thinking about doing that. It's not just because she's pissed that she thinks she can, even though she couldn't. You're dealing with this when you deal with the westernesha. That's why one of the things that is dumb for you to do is to sit up and discuss this with women from the West, considering marriage to them. And I'm not telling you to consider dating or just hitting and quitting, pumping and dumping, nutting and running with them either. Don't do that either. They're not going to let you do that. It's too convenient for you. If that's what all she wanted and you on board with that, she's still going to try to change your mind because that's who the huck she is. It's a joke to her. It's all fun and games to her. And that could be someone that didn't start off with that, because that's what the West does to them. And this is why I tell you to have these double standards. You have a discussion with somebody, you discuss marriage with someone from a more traditional background and culture, and it doesn't start off with this, you can give some benefits of the doubt. Now, you still got to be careful and watchful, but you can still give benefits of the doubt, at least in the beginning while there's a doubt. With the westernesha, you got to doubt the benefit. That's why they're not fit. It's because they're not fit. It's how you know that they're not fit. They simply have it in their minds that you're there to be tested. Your boundaries aren't to be respected, they're there to be tested. And good women who don't mean harm have to not only not follow the shuck fit, they have to see the path of shuck fit and oppose it. And that's not something that many of them are ready to do vocally and outwardly. Now, they may do it stealthily, and that's fine, actually, but that's not something that many of them are willing to vocally and outwardly do. They're not willing to sit up and say with a loud voice, say it with their chest to the public, I'm not following your misandry shuck fit, B word. And no, my husband is not going to be sent over to your house to do favors for you because you can't keep a man. Bit you strong and independent, even if you are my friend. So if your dishwasher breaks, I'm not sending him over there to do that for you. Either he knows how to do it or he doesn't. And if he doesn't know, you're going to call a repairman just like me. And if he does know, you're going to pay him. I don't want him tearing your tussie up. So what you gonna pay him? It can't be them draws. And we men have to start understanding the draws can't be a payment anyway. That's a mutual exchange. We equals, right? There are reasons for these double standards, and this is just one example. And I can honestly tell you that I have looked and I have seen what they're willing to do. And that makes all the difference. But I'm telling you, you got to treat them unequally, and this is why I didn't start off with the peace greeting. It's not even hatred. It's just about defending your interest. That's all it is. No, it is not your job to be taken for granted. It's all right if a lady does not understand what you go through to provide, as long as she realizes she doesn't understand and she appreciates your efforts and wants to make it worth it. It's not her job. Some women do understand, and hell, the ones that understand oftentimes don't fit for guck. Claudia Jordan understands what men go through to provide. She just doesn't care. She wants a man that's already earned a lot and is at the end of his life to come and rescue her so he can die and leave her tons of money. She still doesn't know how to value a man, as a human being. She can't do it. So therefore, she has to stay by herself. That's what the West does to these women. She understands and does not fib a guck. She understands and therefore has even less compassion for men that would do it. She got a better chance of respecting a man that comes along, pipes her down, treats her well, but does not financially take care of her than she does a man that comes along, having earned everything she wants, saved everything she wants him to have, and is about to end his life, about to pass away. The one that'll give her what she really wants is the one she won't respect. That's why they internalize this with men so much. Well, if I give you the draws you want, you're going to lose respect for me. No, that ain't automatic with dudes. Dudes lose respect when a woman gives it up, period. Men take it personally because it is personal when women act like, I'll screw anybody but you. That's when men get offended. And you have a right to be offended when they say something like that. Even though I'm not telling you to fornicate and you shouldn't pursue that. If a woman goes out of her way to give you that type of message, you got a right to take it offensively. Don't lose your mind, but you got a right to understand the offense that she meant and cut off and don't talk to her and don't ever do nothing for her. And if you're driving one night, you happen to see her stranded on the side of the road, do not pull over because that's dangerous. And don't call someone and tell them to go and see either because that's dangerous. Don't even call AAA for her. That's dangerous. Because if that's her mindset, then robbing men is nothing to her. Men are nothing to her. That's why I tell you what I tell you. It's not hatred. Maintain these double standards and don't treat them equally because they're not doing things equally. And as cultures change and women in places where they previously were not become misandrous under the guise of feminism, start treating them the same way you treat the westernesha. I hope this helps. And don't apologize for the difference in the treatment. Thanks for listening. As always, Black Heart, Black Mind, Blackout, Assalamu Alaikum, Black Heterosexual, Non-Select Male Power because they don't like it, and Black Patriarchy until extinction on Judgment Day. Thank you for flying with us again here on Jet Black Air, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us till the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender, justice, forever.